Welcome into the Players Club, presented by Pepsi. The Players Club is presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And in part by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. Now for your hosts, London Fletcher and Santana Moss.
Welcome into the Players Club. We have a special guest filling in for Sean Springs this week. I don't know if he's a special guest.
Ain't nothing special about it. He's here, though.
He's here. Frederick Danielle.
There you go, not my government.
He's present.
You know, Blue, we miss you already. We miss you already, Bluefoot. We got a big show on deck, fellas.
Yeah, we do.
It's alumni weekend. What you call it, old guys weekend?
It's the old guys collection.
Yeah.
Old guys collection.
We're a part of that collection.
Yeah, now we're old.
Yes,
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the greatest to ever wear the burgundy and gold. Mm-hmm. Fred, you're not on it.
Yeah.
You're not one of them.
I
You're not one of them.
I understand.
Obviously got to talk to Hall of Famer Darrell Green and his jersey retirement, which will take place at this weekend's game against the Carolina Panthers, and we'll preview that game against the Panthers.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, we got Johnny Newton.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to join us on the show, fellas.
Yeah, he got a new opportunity now with John Allen going down.
Big things popping.
With that being said, man, let's get it popping on this week's Players Club.
Well, fellas, you know, every week we had this segment, Dubs of the Week. You know, we're going to basically recap who got a dub or who do we get, what individual player, or you can say the core that you want to give a dub from the previous game. So, looking back at that Ravens game, man, it's nothing that we can take out of that but our team fought hard. But who was one of the guys or the side of the ball that you want to give a dub to?
Yeah, you know, first of all, we got so used to getting dubs, victories 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Man, it's kind of
different,
We don't want to get used to this, just having to give our individuals.
Yeah.
I would say this, though. I thought Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He's going to get, Jaden Daniels, he's going to get the dub of the week. When you look at him in that ball game against the Ravens, especially, I would say maybe from the middle of the second quarter on, settled down, starting to make some plays. He has some throws on the sideline. I know you got to appreciate this as a wide receiver.
Especially at that young in his career.
Oh, yeah. It was some balls, like some comebacks on the sideline.
Yeah.
Put it only where the receiver can catch it. The touchdown throw, the last one to Terry McLaurin. Both those throws were outstanding. It's hard to watch that game, even though it was a loss.
Yeah.
Not to give Jaden Daniels a dub of the week.
Yeah.
My dub of the week goes to his partner in crime, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I just feel like their relationship, you can see it growing each and every quarter, each and every game. And you talked about that last pass, man. I'm a defensive back. Sometimes passes you can't defend them.
No, exactly.
Like when you throw the ball at the time he did, Terry was not even coming out of his break at the time. The soft spot where he put that ball at, it was either Terry or nobody gets that ball. Yeah. So just their connection. So I want to get Terry, and I'm sure Terry is really loving the momentum they get, especially with all the ups and the downs he's dealt with from the quarterback position. Just watching them grow has been one of those things where I'm like, how are they going to be at game 16, game 15? This is the beginning of something special, I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep it on the same side of the ball, you know, with my dub of the week. I'm going to stick with the offense as a whole. Yeah. I think offensively, man, if you look at it, it wasn't until that day of the game when I found that B-Rod wasn't going to play. So I'm pretty sure that they said something that night before. I wasn't paying attention. But when I got there and I heard that B-Rod was down, I was like, okay, you know, we have the guys, but I also understood that the Ravens was known for kind of being
stopping the run,
being a stifler in the run game. So I was wondering how we was going to get this done without, you know, being, I guess you can say, having our bell cow. But I think collectively, man, you could add Kingsbury into this too. They still went out there and got the job done.
Yeah.
To a degree. You know what I mean? It wasn't. They didn't come out with the outcome that we wanted. But for you not to have the guy that you've been stuffing that ball into, and then you think about it, they had a stat going into this game where I'm not sure how far it was, but every time we rushed for 30 or more carries, we won those games.
Right. Yeah.
And going into this game, you look at it, we ended that game with, I believe, 18 carries.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was the deciding factor of why we wasn't able to probably get over the hump in that game and get a couple of more scores in there. So offensively, you know, missing that kind of, I guess you can say,
physicality. His physicality,
that part of the game, to still go out there and go toe-to-toe, I had to get him a dub as a whole.
No, Smoot, you bring up a great point. You mentioned the physicality. Also, double the week. I think we should mention this guy, Noah Brown.
I
thought Noah Brown played really good.
Nobody ever talks about pass interference. Every time this guy goes deep, we get a 30, 35-yard pass interference. So, you know, I know it don't count on the stat sheet, but, man, it's a difference, man.
And it was a third down pass interference.
Yeah.
But mentioning the physicality, and I talked about this on the Booth Review podcast with Bram. Not having B-Rob, so those runs, obviously we only had 18 carries, I'm thinking at least, B-Rob going to have 15 carries
and he's going to lean forward on all of them.
Exactly. So it might be, instead of a 3rd and 6, it might be 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Yeah, so a lot more manageable down the distance. Time of possession now starts to favor us a little bit more. The Ravens aren't on the field as long. Our defense maybe doesn't get worn down as much. So the dynamic, the flow of the game changes a lot when you have a guy like B-Rob in that game. And there's times where, hey, it's not blocked up correctly. And he just batter and rams.
Just run down their throat. And it wears on the defensive line as the game goes on. Now, you know, I love Eckler, but he's more finesse than power. When you hit that power, because you got to realize, we're talking about the Ravens. We're talking about a team who labeled themselves off physicality. So at the end of the day, we go into that physical game not having our physical batting ram. And I think it kind of set us back when it came to the offense.
And that's why I say as a whole, you give the offense collectively because – you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about, you know, Cliff. You saw a couple of those series, man, where they had our number. I mean, there was nothing we can do. You know, and a couple of times I believe if, especially early in the game, if Jaden let Eckler has it, he hit his head on the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was one where
he pulled it, and then those guys were sitting right there waiting for him. So, you know, they came into the game saying, you're not going to beat us with some of this stuff.
But we'll let the backs do it.
All these guys can have it, but you're not going to beat us. So, with that being said, Cliff still found the way. I remember I had been saying it for weeks. That slip screen go coming. It's coming. It's coming. But what I never knew that you can send two guys on the same side with a go route. You send Noah and then, you know, Terry behind him. That's, you know, that creative, you know, ability to go out there and call plays is second to none, man. And I think he's been showing that week in and week out.
Speaking of creative, the flea flicker back to a screen to the running back to Eckler. I was like, man, I've seen a lot of football. Rarely do I see something that I haven't seen before. That was my first time seeing that.
And not only just seeing it being done the way it's been done, it's just like those guys are in unison, blocking. Like they just, everybody following the plan, doing their assignment. That's what stands out the most when you look at this team as a whole. You know, that's, you know, we talking about, you know, individuals and talking about this one side, you know, with this dub of the week thing. But I think if you look at what we've been doing as a team, that's why we're getting the national, you know, conversation. We're in that national conversation now because as a whole, collectively, those guys are out there. You know, you can see the coaching coming into play. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I got to say Kingsbury, because he's doing a great job of week by week layering the playbook. He's layering the playbook. He gives him 1, 2, 3 more things every week to watch this playbook grow. So it's crazy to watch now.
All right, fellas, we're going to move on to Drive Time. It's time for Drive Time, presented by Eastern Automotive Group. Any car, any way, for everyone. Since 1988. Drive time this week. Drive time this week. We'll be talking about the weekend, the alumni weekend.
Old people
weekend, which we are part of now.
Hey, man,
I think
we crazy, man.
I think we mid-age. Because if D. Green them and Joe Jacoby,
they're in their 60s, right?
They are the senior citizens, while we are right there in that middle group right there.
Because we can relate to the younger guys.
We ain't that young.
I mean, no, we can relate to them.
Most definitely.
We're not old, so we can relate to them a little bit.
But what's funny about it, you know, especially this weekend, as a one of the things that I've always got a kick out of, it's just, so, you know, those guys have so many great memories from just winning championships. And just the history itself, man. It's always great to be around them. But when you do get around them, it's like they kind of cling to us.
Yeah.
Like you could say, it's one thing as us being able to relate to the guys that's still playing. They relate to us, and we just got out the game. You know what I mean? So I've always got a kick out of just being around, especially guys like Gary Clark, D Green, or you name it. Some of those guys, Theismann, he's always a good.
I love Joe.
He gonna get a corner and he gonna talk your ear off.
I love Joe.
But he's always got some good insight to share with you about the team and about some of the things that went on. My question about this alumni weekend. Do you guys remember the first, I guess you could say, alumni when you got here on this team?
Yeah.
Who kind of lend a hand, basically reached out to you and kind of gave you some insight on the game or just something about the history of
That's
the team?
crazy you asked that question because it's about the man of the hour. It's D Green. Like when I walked into the locker room, they were like, all right, D Green, this Fred Smoot, this D Green. D Green, you watch him.
Oh, no. Wait. I'm not about to let you put that on Darrell Green's resume. No, you are not going to put that on his resume.
I was his assignment.
So he didn't mention that D Green didn't want to watch him.
I won't say that.
You know how somebody drop a kid off at your house and say, babysit my kid? No, that's what it was. And I can say this, man, Darrell was very open, very honest to me, and he also put something inside of me when it was, because I was already going to be a community dude, but he let me know how serious it was. He was like, your play is going to make you remember through football, but what you do in this community going to make you remember forever.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me from the time I got here to then. And he was just I could always just ask him questions. I remember Champ was watching me watch film on Darrell Green one day.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm sorry, but you can't Darrell Green.
Yeah.
And I like, what you mean? He was like, don't study him because he is the only person that can do those things. So, and I had an old locker room. You got to realize I had Bruce Smith. I had so many old dudes. We would call the old folks home Ashburn at the time. I was the youngest person on the team, but man, just anything I needed, he was always there.
How about yourself?
You know, I was, as you were asking that question, I started thinking about some of the alumni that I first met when I got here in 07. One guy who, me being a middle linebacker, I got to talk to every week is Sam Huff.
Sam, my
Hall
guy.
of Fame, Hall of Fame linebacker, the late Sam Huff.
Yeah.
And when I found out he was calling the games, he was the radio analyst with the job that I do now, him and Sonny Jurgensen. So for me being able to talk to Sam Huff, I mean, it's like I'm a football historian, especially when it comes to the middle linebacker. So, man, I'm talking to him, and we just had like a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
Like we would talk, and he would tell me stories about him going against Jim Brown and you know, knocking his
Was it on the couch?
Oh,
it was on the couch. Like I used to sit on the couch with him and Sonny all the time.
Man, he would tell me stories, talk about how he would hit Jim Brown, and I can't use the word. The word that he said. One of the things, the best gifts I ever got, unsolicited, Sam Huff gave me an autographed black and white photo of him that I still have to this day.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of other people's stuff in my house because I'm arrogant.
Yeah, because he bougie.
Sam Huff is one of the few people that I have in my house that's not me.
Yeah,
that's
so to
up.
speak.
What about you, Tom?
Well, yeah, I mean, none other than Gary. Gary Clark.
Yeah.
It was funny because I remember coming here. When you get traded somewhere, it's always like, okay, we know he got talent, but people don't open up to you out the gate before I even got acclimated with the team. Gary reached out like, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? I watch your game. I like your game. Boom, boom, boom. Now after that season I had, next time I saw him again, and I would see him periodically throughout the year. He saw me and was like, bruh, I didn't know your love. And he got Gary talk.
Right.
And he's like, bro, you can play with us. Boy. You got a aura about yourself that I just love that, man. I love that swag. And that's the first thing he starts saying. Yo, swag, man, you got a soul about yourself, man. It's just something in your game. And I'm laughing about it as he talking to me because I'm thinking about this cat. He wasn't even here at the time, but he stamped me as an old man, talking about, man, you got an old man soul, you know what I'm saying? But I would just always he didn't know that I appreciated those moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy. I want to share a little story because I'm going to ask y'all next segment about give me a funny story, but I'm going to share mine first. you know how these seasons are in the season. You know, you don't always have, your season don't always go as planned. And it was a year, 2007. It might have been your first year here. The same year Sean, left us. My season was rocky, bro. I had got injured early. I had a growing strain. You know how that is when you're worried about that.
You just can't get back
That's
right.
in my head. I'm going out there. Long story short, we in these games, and I'm just like, bro, I'm out of it. Like, mentally, I'm out of it, frustrated, you name it, all the above. Gary Clark came to speak to the team. We all circled up on the field. I'll never forget this. I'm dead front row in the center on my knee. And he said, where 89 at? I'm like, I'm in the classroom, I'm right here. He say, where the hell that freaky first down at? I ain't seen it all year.
I remember that.
And I'm like, bro, I swear, if you'd have saw or felt like I just like a deep go, like, he said, bro, when you do that, I do that. And I need to see that. That was a calling me out in front of everybody.
There was a call to order right there.
And I'm sitting there saying to myself, I didn't take it like no negative, other way.
No,
I took it like I should have. I say, I gotta step my up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember going out to that next game, and we made a run, and I was a part of that run.
Yeah.
Every week I showed up, and I was making plays, touchdowns, having my yards. Because I put all that stuff behind me, which that's what I needed to do. So that's like something that I always take with me, man. Gary was always there. He was the guy that's, lent his hand the first day I got here. And to this day, when we see each other, man, in passing, man, we always have stories and we always share little moments. So I got to give credit
I got
to Gary.
one more guy. My guy, Ray Brown.
Oh, Ray.
Now, listen, I love me some Ray Brown.
We actually played with Ray Brown.
Ray
He was
Brown.
still playing when we got here.
I played against Ray Brown.
Ray Brown played against Ray Nitsky. He was playing against.
So he was on the team in 07 when you got here? He
came back later, I think.
He was gone. He was gone.
No, he was gone?
Yeah, he was gone.
Man, Ray was always one of them guys, Smoot, you need anything, you need to know anything, you need me to help you with anything, just always there. He loved the joke. So he my guy. And I used to always call him the Nutty Professor because he looked like the Nutty Professor with that fro. Yeah, so I love me some Ray Brown. When I say genuine to the core, one of the best people I ever met in my life.
Hey, real quick, since we telling stories.
Yeah.
So I'm playing with the Rams, Ray Brown with the 49ers.
Yeah.
This old Fletch. Old Big Fletch.
Yeah.
I was
Lil Fletch.
before Christ. So we're playing the 49ers. I'm cussing up a storm, cussing everybody out on the 49ers. Ray gonna say, it's like a timeout. He's like, London, why you cuss so much?
What you say back to him? F you. You Ray Brown. You Ray Brown.
I can see you doing it too.
Listen,
I can see you doing it too.
I couldn't like
control yourself.
My pride and my ego wouldn't allow me to be like, yeah, you right.
Yeah,
I just had to cuss him out again.
I can see you doing it. Walk over there like, man.
That's a shame that you didn't cuss Ray Brown out, a man of the cloth.
I would do this pre-Christ, man. This is a long time ago, man.
Speaking of 07, I brought up 07. What do you guys remember about that wild card game up in Seattle, man? We got a chance to go to the playoffs again. We always talk about every time we got in the playoffs, it was always Seattle, man.
It's Seattle or Tampa. Them the only two teams we ever seen to play. We just had so much momentum.
Yeah, a lot of momentum.
We had a lot of momentum. We playing we playing above our head on defense. Like we
ain't playing with about 2 calls.
We got 2 calls, and when I say we are going in, and we don't care if they know we in man to man. This is what we gonna do. This is how we gonna do it, and we let that game get away from us, man. We had that game.
Yeah,
I remember they was throwing that damn football to. We played a lot of cover 2.
Bobby was still playing there, right? Ingram. He was still there, right?
I think he may have been.
No, Bobby was still there.
He was still there.
Bobby and then Sean Alexander.
Yeah.
He was running back. I remember we were playing a lot of cover 2, and obviously our Sam Single, our Smoot's favorite blitz.
They were throwing that blue.
And they were having a lot of perimeter type plays. And I wasn't able to get in on a lot of tackles, so I was pissed off in that game. I don't think I have about 2 or 4.
You would get right there.
Man, I was hot as fish grease.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I finally got a hold of Sean Alexander one time. I tried to tear his damn
Did he
head
slide?
off.
Did he slide
He
on
should
you?
have.
Well, I did get me a good old hit off Hasselbeck. I thought I had took him out that game.
Yeah,
I thought I had single-handedly won that game for us.
Yeah, I think
We didn't win that game.
No, we didn't win the game, but I remember offensively, rather Todd Collins was willing and dealing. Y'all talked about us coming up with momentum.
Yeah.
And Todd was on fire.
The
And
chief.
I loved it, especially just being a receiver, knowing that one of the things people fail to realize is that you, as a receiver, Fred brings us up all the time. You know, you as good as your quarterback, or you as good as the play call.
You at the mercy.
Whatever. You at the mercy of their hands. You know, if the guy gonna throw you the ball, find you. You know, if he give you the opportunity, then great. If you don't, then you out there just running around.
Yeah.
And Todd would find me. I mean, I actually scored that game, and I remember, like we talked about Sean leaving us that year. It's a picture that still to this day I sign. Every time I'm doing a autograph signing, you see me in the back of the end zone, and I'm holding the deuce one up high.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because, Seattle was real pretty.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a beautiful
the
city.
skyline and just the stadium itself, you see the 2-1. And to me, when I see that picture, I get choked up sometimes. Like, damn, because I remember where my head was at.
Yeah.
I was gone right at
Let
the
me
time.
ask y'all this, and I felt like this. So after Sean passes, we go to his funeral on that Monday. We play Buffalo. He passed on a Monday or Tuesday morning.
Monday.
Yeah.
Play Buffalo that Sunday. Go to his funeral that Monday.
Yeah.
Then we played Chicago Thursday night.
Yeah, and beat Chicago.
Then we beat Chicago, going to 4-game winning streak. Did you all feel like? So we win, make the playoffs. Then we go to Seattle on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like everything was. Did y'all feel like, man,
We was
just
rushed.
playing off of emotions?
It was
just
a high like no other.
Yeah, it was a high, and then just getting into that game was like, man, if we play on Sunday, do we close that game? I just felt like we were just on such an emotional high emotional.
I think the perfect approach to me was to get us out there earlier.
Yeah,
because we was on such a high, and it wasn't a sugar high; it was maintainable.
Yeah.
And I just think if we would have got out there, we'd have been more established, more singular focus. We were focused. Like, you didn't have to worry about our focus at the time. It was all football. Like, that was one of the few times I seen everybody just
we locked in. Yeah, we were
football,
locked in.
Emotions. Yeah, we was emotionally driven, but they was good emotions now. We ain't finna cheat each other.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
I think that was the one time, too, that you can say our team looked like a team. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%.
It brought us together because I guess every man had a gut check of how short life is.
What can you do better?
You know what I mean? Like, or not even that, just life itself. Because I know myself personally, you speed. Like, when we play this game, folks feel to realize, because now I look back at it because I'm watching all the guys who are not able to kind of land on their feet when this thing is over.
Yeah.
And it bothers me a little bit because I'm like, man, we fortunate. You know, one of the things about us, one of the things you don't have to necessarily have this outstanding job after football, especially if that's football being your life. Go do something football-wise. Go give your time to high school. Go give your time to the little league if all you know is football. But it's great to be able to say you landed and have something that you can just keep you busy, because that's what we need more than anything, to keep your mind from just wandering. And that's what, to me, I when you say we play ball, it's like you get that short time off and you back to practice. So I was speeding through life. Like, hey, life ain't started life in me until football was over with. And I'm sitting there like, well, what did I do when these bills or this came up or somebody else calling me about their bills? What was I doing? You know, was I giving it to somebody else?
We were so focused on what all the other things.
Man.
Or somebody was running interference. We didn't get them damn calls. Or we didn't get those calls and stuff like that.
So, that's what I appreciated more. And I think I kind of, buckle down a little bit more about myself, as a person.
And I think Coach Gill was the perfect coach to have at that time. I don't know how many coaches could coach us through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
he was the perfect guy.
I think Coach Gill was the perfect coach to have at that time.
That was, I just remember, like, man, just the emotions that we were dealing with, and going out there. And I think you reminded me that we were talking about this maybe last year. I forgot that we had a lead in the fourth quarter of that game.
No, me and Tanner sit and watch the game.
Like, it was like a blur.
Was ours. It was our game.
We actually threw a pick down the sideline. And I was the guy who they was throwing to, and I remember. And the ball got lost in the lights. And I'm like, this is what we talk about all the time, knowing the guy, knowing the receiver. Me and Todd went on the same page. He just threw a go.
Yeah.
But the guy was 30 yards deep on me already. So I'm saying to myself, just throw it at me so I can stop
it on the line.
And so I was running not as fast as I would want to because I'm like, I can't run this guy down and then leave him. It's going to be one of them. If you throw it deep, we both not going to get it. So I'm going to give you a chance to throw it to me by running at a different pace where you can just pin it on my back shoulder. And I remember he slung that thing. And I was looking up for it. And I'm still looking. And I hear the crowd run.
Yeah.
And the cornerback got the ball running towards me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I remember the most, too, about that game, just knowing that. I think that's when it slipped. That's when it kind of got away from us.
I want to go back, ask y'all, kind of, especially you, and maybe even you, Smoot, as well. For me, coming here and playing for the Burgundy and Gold, playing for the Redskins at that time, and Tanner, you got traded here. I was a free agent. I knew the history that this organization had, the legacy players, and having been a 3-time Super Bowl champion and all that, playing for the legendary coach Joe Gibbs, I felt a great sense of pride. Like, man, me as a free agent, like, I'm not going to come here and be a bust. You ain't going to be one. You ain't going to put London Fletcher name. London Fletcher name. My name ain't going to be one of those long line of free agent busts that come. I felt a great deal of responsibility, and just with this being alumni weekend, it's made me just think like I took pride in like representing the guys who played before me. Like, man, y'all when y'all see they talking about the signing of me, I'm gonna be one of them dudes. Tanner, how'd you feel when you got traded?
I had a chip. I didn't necessarily have a chip from being traded because I thought that was the best thing of my life. That was the best day that, as far as football-wise, professionally. Like I told you how I felt about New York. I actually grew up there. Like, playing them 4 years there, man, I became a man. So when it was all said and done, when I left, I knew I did my best, and I knew the fans appreciated it. So that's what I was happy to say I'm leaving here as a success, coming in as a first-round pick, because they basically telling me, we just don't want to pay you until next year. But my agent like, no, he exceeded that contract. His time is up. You pay us now, or we gonna go get the money. So when I left knowing like I did my job to get paid. But I had a chip for the simple fact that when I got here, a couple of media folks didn't receive me as the person I was coming in as. Like I told you, a lady, I forgot her name. Like, I'm gonna bring it up, but it's no offense to her. She was doing her job. But she didn't even know. She stirred something in my pot. You know what I mean? She came to me and say, "So how does it feel not to be wanted?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I want to say something else, but being me, respectful. I'm like, well, I don't think I wasn't wanted. They just paid me to come here, as a top receiver. So I'm definitely wanted. She's like, well, you know what I mean? You was a first-round draft pick. I say, well, you trying to get me out my damn character. But I say, look here, man, I'm happy. I say, the grass isn't always greener, but I think for my case, this is a team that wanted me. This is a team that feel like they can use me the way I want to be used, and I think the sky's the limit. And took off that season. It was like, man, it was like a highlight every week for me. You know what I mean? Like that. If you turn that 2005 season on, it wasn't a week that 89 wasn't making an impact. So I look back at it like, see, that's all she had to do. But she didn't even have to do that. Like,
she could have asked the question differently. How does it feel to be wanted?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna put all that on her. I just feel like it was just perfect timing for me, man. Like, I did all I can do over there in New York. I just came off a playoff run 2 years in a row. Like, we went to the playoffs. Remind you, I was there for 4 years. I went 3 out of 4 years to the playoffs. So it was a thing for me to go to the playoffs. So coming here, I brought that energy and we went to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So but I enjoyed it. I didn't know the history like you as much. I knew the names. I knew the Art Monks. I knew the Gary Clarks. I knew some. I know Theismann. I knew Doug Williams. I knew that, and I knew the Super Bowls, but I didn't know like these guys like in the late '80s, early '90s was like world beaters.
I'm in Cleveland, man. Watching the Hogs, watching John Riggins, watching Dexter Manley.
See, unlike y'all, we brought y'all over here. I was born here. I heard my name called on draft day and said you headed to Washington, sir. So when I got here, just to get here and to be welcomed by Doug Williams and the guys that did so much, I was blown away. But it also was like, hey man, it's a standard. It's a standard here, and I need to play to that standard. I need to show them that they didn't waste this pick. Then I actually left, and like you say, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. And I had to call Coach Gibbs to get traded back here. Yeah. So I really appreciate not just the football, not just the history. I enjoy the DMV as a whole, like everything about this. So I enjoyed my Cowboy rivalries. I enjoyed every inch of it.
So that's a great segue into if we had to do a Washington football players Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
Who would be?
So we
each one of four guys. Each one of us get to put our Mount Rushmore of Washington players. Frederick, let's start with you.
All right.
Frederick
of
Douglass.
course, it starts with the great D. Green. He is the epitome. He could be the logo if he wanted to. He is Mr. Washington.
Okay.
Second, you got to go Sammy Baugh. All right? Slinging Sammy Baugh. Now, the third one. I was like, all right, do I put Dexter Manley right there?
You want me to show you the list?
I already got a photographic memory. I see everybody on there. But then I was like, all right, should I go Dexter Manley? We are really known for these hogs.
Yeah.
Right? Do I need to put Rush Grimm?
What is your list though? It's your list.
So after Sammy Baugh, I'm gonna go Dexter Manley because I'm a defensive player. Even though I know I should be putting a hog right there. I know I should be putting a hog right there. And then the last spot, I'm going to give it to somebody of our playing time, and that's Sean Taylor.
That's a good one. Okay. That's tough, too. I'm going to go, Joe Gibbs going to go number one for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put.
I thought it was all players, man.
No, nobody said players. You should say
I could have put Bubba Tyler up there, man.
Who is Bubba Tyler? You got to tell people Bubba.
Everybody know the longtime trainer of this team. He's kept 4 generations healthy, so we don't get here without Bubba Tyler.
Okay, so I'm going to put Coach Gibbs first. Second, I'm going to go with Bobby Mitchell.
Yeah.
Bobby Mitchell was a guy.
Bobby
Mitchell was a guy that I broke his long-time record when I got him my first year, and it was crazy that he was still around. Him and his wife was still around. It was years later that I got a chance to meet him, and I was actually walking. We was at the Gaylord Hotel, and he came and spoke with us. And she saw me out. She was like, "You Santana Marshall?" I'm like, "Yeah." She like, "We watch you." She like, "You broke my husband record, and I always wanted to meet you because you're a nice dude." And I'm like, well, "Damn," you know what I'm saying? Made me feel good. So got to put him up there. I went back and had to watch film on him, and I heard the story about him being one of the first
black.
He was black. He was the first African American.
I'm ashamed that he ain't on my Mount Rushmore. I got to take Manley out.
Try to give you that list.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about.
Maybe I should listen to the El Capitan.
So I got Joe, I got Bobby. Third, I told y'all who I was gonna get defense wise. I just feel like, you know, it's nobody. Dexter Manley was just like one of those guys. To this day, I can't wrap my head around why he's not a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Same reason Joe Jacoby not, and London not. They look over the Washington football players.
It's crazy, and I know, like you said, this is just our list.
Yeah.
I gave him 3, so 4. I'm gonna go with one of our receivers. I'm gonna say Art Monk.
All right.
Say Art Monk.
The quiet Arthur Monk.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I could have put Gary up there. I could have put a lot of guys up there. The list so small, but there's so many guys we could have put up there.
So, Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs.
I feel so ashamed.
The architect of 3. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I thought it was all players, man. It's called a players club, not the coaching club.
This dude here, man. He
gotta go, Coach Gibbs.
Yeah.
3-time Super Bowl winning head coach. He's on the Mount Rushmore. Bobby Mitchell.
Yeah.
I'm going Bobby Mitchell again, just because of what he represents.
What he did.
The first African American player to ever play in this franchise.
Yep.
I'm going with Bobby Mitchell. This is where it starts to get interesting. When you get, I'm going D. Green. He spent 20 years in this franchise.
Yeah.
Mr. W.
So you got to put him on there. Now, my 4th guy, that's the tough one.
Yeah.
I think since none of us put a hog on there, you're going to have to go a hog.
I don't have to put this on my list.
You're going to have to put some bacon on your list, man.
I want to go Sam Huff.
Yeah.
However, Sam had a storied career in
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
Probably more of his career was
New York.
Played in New York before he got to Washington. So
Sonny Jurgensen?
Sonny.
SJ9. The pressure is on, man.
The pressure is on. Let me look at this thing,
You got
man.
Hamburger, you got Chris Hamburger, you got like so many dudes. Like
I feel so much pressure, man.
What was the cornerback that came and talked to us and cursed every time he spoke?
Which one? Not Champ?
No, the cornerback, old guy. He played back in the day.
Oh,
white dude. The white
exactly.
No, he just passed away.
Yes, he did.
Bobby Fischer.
Yeah,
Fischer,
right.
Bobby
Pat
Fischer.
Fischer.
Pat Fischer,
baby.
All right, my fourth guy. I'm going Riggo.
Riggo.
John Riggins.
Ooh, see, that just show you how deep
John Riggins, man.
this history is.
When you think about the Hogs, you think about John Riggins.
Yeah.
You think about that jersey getting tore as he runs through people. That's always going to be in your mind.
That's a tough list, man.
No, I'm sorry. You can't really pick 4. Like, it's hard to pick 4 people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can only just say, you know, like you say, our list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't get it right because it's going to be a guy.
Somebody going to be left out.
He left Joe Gibbs on.
Man,
First of all,
and he talking about, I know the Joseph. My friend.
Don't forget. Now,
Be talking,
do
man.
you know the story of how Coach came back to coaching?
No, we don't.
No, what's the
All right,
story?
check this out.
Yeah, tell everybody.
Coach Spurrier had retired, remember, abruptly.
Yeah.
I am driving. ESPN gives me a call and say, we want you to do an interview. Do you know your coach?
I remember the story. I wanted to hear it.
And I was like, okay. I'm near Atlanta. They were like, stop at the CNN building. So I stopped at the CNN building. They put the mic in my face. And they say, how you feel about Spurrier quitting? I'm like, we don't care. We're going to look forward to the new coach. And they like, well, who going to be your new coach? I said, the only person that can save us is Joe Gibbs. And Coach happened to be watching ESPN with his wife. But he had already told, I think, somebody in his family a year earlier that I'm really thinking about going back to coaching. So he was like, what Smoot did was make it to where time he said my name, Miss Gibbs asked him, do you want to go back to coach? So he was like, thank you for not having me having to talk to her about this. So I called the coach back. Yeah. So he's always on my list.
We gotta give you. We gotta give you.
Y'all welcome. You know Y'all welcome. I brought the Joseph back for you.
But he's not on your Mount Rushmore.
He is my Mount Rushmore. Yeah. I just thought it was all players.
This weekend, man.
Yeah.
Big game, obviously against the Carolina Panthers. Alumni weekend, and it's not just alumni weekend.
Yeah.
Number 28.
Never be worn again.
Never be worn again. Why it took so long, that's another
we ain't worried about it. It's here now.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? I'm going to start with you, Smoot, because you played with him.
Yeah.
Darrell Green, 20 years.
Yeah.
One of the fastest men, one of the greatest players to not just play in this franchise.
Yeah, in
the National Football League. He's an iconic player. Jersey going up and to never be worn again. How does that make you feel?
It's unbelievable that I'm a little bitty part of his long story. All right? It's like, I remember my first day when they drafted me, the first thing I did was look at the depth chart. I think all of us do that. And I was like, Darrell Green, Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey. Am I playing tight end for Washington? Like, what am I playing? So I remember when I first walked in and me and Darrell sat down and talked. I told you about how they kind of introduced us. And Darrell was talking and he was like, I like your game. And he was like, you know, we have this little contest we used to have all the time. It was the fastest Washington player contest. See, you want to always talk about speed. So we get to the race. All right, it's a minicamp. It's just a minicamp. We get to the race. The last 3 races, after everybody eliminated, me, Champ Bailey, and Darrell Green. Darrell hadn't ran. He hadn't ran yet because they said that you could just run the last one.
Right.
I was like, Champ,
Had you won any races, or did you?
I had already won my way to them. I had to work.
Who'd you race against?
Everybody on the team. Everybody on the team. I raced the janitor. Whoever lined up, I raced him.
You couldn't beat me. But anyway, finish your story.
So now it's the last 3 races, and it's me, Champ, and D Green. And I was like, Champ, we can't let 40-year-old D Green beat us. Champ was like, hey, he ain't no regular 40-year-old. so we strike out. And of course, I'm looking at the back of these 2 guys. We run, and I like, this dude. Like, when I say fast, it was unbelievable how fast he was. And it was effortless. He wasn't struggling or nothing.
Right.
So I take a knee after the race, and I'm like, did I just lose to a 40-year-old man? But then, like Chell said, that ain't no average. 40. So he was a wonder. He was a blur. And then, get what I do then. After that, I go back and watch him race Herschel Walker.
Yeah, I was gonna say you.
And I say, you know what? I earned that butt kicking.
Yeah.
I earned that butt kicking. So just an amazing person, but an athlete, I have never seen an athlete with that type of longevity. Like longevity, 19 consecutive years with an interception. Fletch, did you have any year you didn't have an interception?
Yeah.
I know you did.
Why you gotta
I
throw
looked
in?
at your stats. I know you did.
But I have more picks than you.
You played 100 years. You and Darrell Green, same guy.
Hold on, you mentioned Dion must have participated that day.
No, he didn't.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been in that top three.
I wouldn't have been in that top three. He was, you know, Dion wasn't going to race at that time.
Oh, my God. I was going to tell Fred, being a guy that he always researching something, that's one day that he dropped the ball with research, because I wouldn't have gotten in that race not knowing that Darrell Green was the fastest man in the world.
No, I knew he was, but you got to realize, in our head, we like, it's a clock. It's a clock. Like, all right, he used to be a 4.2, 4.1.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was still a 4.2 at this time. Like, that's what I underestimated him.
You didn't even have to tell me the story. I knew you came in last when you told me he was in the race.
As soon as I heard Champ Bailey, I'm like,
Bailey, I know Champ.
I'm like, if Champ didn't win, then he basically got second.
Thank you for your confidence in me.
You weren't even a close third.
I was third, man. I can say in a race with Darrell Green, I came in third, and it was only 3 people.
All right, man. Before you have me in tears, man, I'm gonna share my little, sentiments, about number 28. I think, I didn't have no big story about saying I played with him, played against him. All I remember growing up, you talked about how you being a big historian about the game, just knowing linebackers, knowing about the game. I was just a player watcher. You know what I'm saying? Like I would watch players on teams that had an impact, and it just, caught my eye. Dion, Darrell Green, and Rod Woodson was 3 corners that I wanted to be like. I told you I grew up starting my early childhood, I played corner and receiver. So those 3 guys always stood out. You know what I mean? As I get older, you get the Charles Wilsons, everybody else, they kind of changed, the Champ Baileys, you name it. Yeah. But the thing, man, when I got into the league in 2001, Darrell Green was still over here. And I'm like, what the hell going on? How is the man still playing? I was in Panthers when he was playing, So that's what stood out to me the most. And I think not only that, when I go back and kind of like pay attention to what he did, how long he did it, when that last year that I remember watching him, he still was out there making plays. That's enough, credit right there for itself, because you understand how this game goes, man. And when you get up in those years, it's hard to be that guy you once was. And I remember that's one of the things that I kind of had a bop in my walkabout when I was leaving out. Because I'm like, man, I'm still out here, embarrassing people, kids. At my age. So if I can still go out there and make your mama mad at me, then I'm doing my job. So I know Darrell Green's one of those guys, and it's crazy. When I got here, and over the time, he connected with me, and to this day, I see him places. He always say, "Tan, I'm passing you the torch. You the guy. You the guy in the community now that people look at like how they looked at me."
I'm gonna tell you a really quick Darrell Green story about how he is as a man. So this was 2013, I believe, 2013 season, and this was a season where we're struggling a little bit, and they were asked. It was like the media was talking about his RG3, our leader, and such and such. And I made the comment like, he's not the leader, like I'm the leader. And so Darrell Green, he said, well, London, you can't be the leader. He didn't say this to me. He said it on the radio, and I kind of took it the wrong way. And so Darrell, word got back to Darrell that I wasn't happy with what he said. And to tell you how he is, he called me. He's like, London, you know what, man? And we had a relationship before then. We knew each other a little bit. We're like, man, we about to sit and talk. We about to have a conversation, really get to know each other. And we cleared the air of some like miscommunication. Like I was disappointed to like. I was a little like, damn, I was trying to take the pressure off of the young guy. But he's like, London, you too old to be the guy, so it was just a little bit like, all right. So, but me and him, we talked for probably about an hour and a half. Just, man
to man.
Yeah, man to man. And I left that conversation like we were in a better place. And not like we were beefing, but it was just like, because I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. Like, damn, Darrell, I'm trying to take the pressure off the young guy, man. But just a tremendous Hall of Fame player, even better person.
Even better person.
As I mentioned, jersey should have been retired, but that's neither here nor there. Can't wait to celebrate him.
It's crazy that I shared a huddle with him. I just remember him coming out the huddle and he would be teaching me. We'll come out the huddle.
Don't put that on him again.
I'm serious. I'm serious. He'll be like, hey, watch out. They finna try to hit him with a double post. It's 3rd and 5. They coming outside. They ain't gonna come inside. Like, just stuff that really made it easy for my transition.
And you did, he did help you because you got paid by Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then once you got out on your own. Once you left there, that's the difference.
That ain't on him. But when I got here, he made it easy for me. And that's why I started out so fast.
All right, let's preview this game though against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. It's time to set the tone. Brought to you by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. They come in here 1-5, struggling as a
still
a
pro football team.
Yeah, still a pro football team. We lost the game against the Baltimore Ravens. We got to get back on the winning track, winning ways. A lot of stuff going into the game. On paper, I think we're favored. By 7, 8 points, whatever.
Yeah, six a last time.
We don't pay a whole lot of attention to that.
We let Las Vegas handle that.
Guys, this Panthers team, they can run the ball.
Yep.
I say a dangerous team.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
3rd in the National Football League running the football. We're down some defensive linemen.
And they offensive line strength. They have a very good offensive line. They got Xavier Legette out there, wide receiver. They got a tight end.
Johnson.
They got a tight end and Sanders that can get up that seam. And let's be honest, Andy Dalton has kind of revived this team's season.
Playing better. Yeah.
So he, as a veteran quarterback like Joe Flacco, he ain't going to beat himself. Yeah. You're going to have to force him into mistakes. And one thing that I think is paramount that we do, and if we don't do it, we could be setting ourselves up for a trap. We have to start fast. Yeah. If we allow these guys to stay in this game, the more momentum they build, the more they think they're going to have a chance. They got some defensive players, J.C. Horn. Yeah. They got some guys over there that can get after you on that defensive side of the ball. We got to start early and often with this team.
Yeah, I think it's only a trap, man, when you allow it to be a trap. You know, one of the things that I'm hoping that's going for us that I've been seeing so far in these first 6 weeks of the season is this team is well coached.
Yes. Well coached.
You have a player at almost every position that play at a high level in this league. And they understand, just like we understand as players to this day and guys who no longer playing, that's the only way you allow a team that don't supposed to beat you. It's by listening to the noise. Listening to the noise about what they can do. Man, they come in here hurt. You know, we just lost. I think it's probably one of the better things that happened to us earlier in these first 6 weeks because we was on a high. Sometimes you need to be brought back down to earth. You need that gut check to kind of know who you are and know how much more better you need to be. We understood that, that might have been one of the better teams that we faced this year. You know what I mean? Them in Tampa, if you had to ask me. But I do believe that, yes, Carolina going to come in here feeling like they feel. Believe they 1-5. But at the same time, they want to be that thorn in our backside and say, we're going to be the team that kind of rattle them.
Take the air out of
these coaches, this staff is not going to allow this team to, sit here and be less than who they are. I definitely believe these guys are going to go out there with a chip every day this week and go out there Sunday and play the kind of game.
And that's the thing that I look at mostly when you think about first and foremost DQ, Dan Quinn. I don't feel like he would ever have his team playing up and down, down and against the competition that's supposed to be lesser than, or up when the opponent's supposed to be better. Like, if you look at this team, they talk about competing all the time, competing at a high level, just the accountability. I know I watched a little bit of practice earlier today. I know that just watching practice, those guys are out there having a great practice, ready to play. So I'm not worried about them not being ready to play a game mentally again. But to your point, Fred, don't find yourself in a dog fight with a team.
Not with this team.
Dude, you got it. I will say this, defensively, there was enough things we did wrong against the Baltimore Ravens to where, we got to come in here and making sure we're on top of our game. got to stop the run a lot better.
Yeah.
Especially with the losses on the defensive line.
Yeah, with those losses on the defensive line. Carolina Panthers, one thing they can do, they know how to run the football. They'll probably be even more committed to running the ball this week. And they got some guys who can make some plays in the passing game.
Yeah.
So we got to be. We had a couple miscommunications on the back end, didn't play some things as well as we would have liked to against Baltimore. So there's enough things that we need to correct going into this game. And it wasn't a clean and perfect offensive game. So we need to be better. I think we'll be better to play this game against the Carolina Panthers.
I think Taylor hit it on the head. It was a good reset week. Reset week. All right, we know what just happened. Now let's get back on track.
How you bounce back?
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to, obviously, to this weekend's game against the Carolina Panthers. We got that special guest, Johnny Newton, joining us on the show next.
With the 36th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jazon Newton, defensive tackle, Illinois.
It's your ice cold player, brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
Welcome back to the Players Club. As promised, we got that special guest, Johnny Newton, joining us.
Yo,
defensive tackle.
What they do?
Clearwater, Florida boy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So how did it feel, especially when you got here, knowing that you had an ex-teammate here in Quan Martin? You know, did that make it easier? Did you hit Quan that night, or did he hit you up? How did that go?
Yeah, me and Quan hit by 5 minutes after I got the call.
Yeah.
He was like, man, it's crazy. You know, Florida boys, when you go to college together, wherever state you're from, you link up with them boys. So me and Quan was close. Our families know each other. So it was just crazy. And then Allegretti, too.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
And Quan used to be y'all barber, but you ain't get no haircuts, though, huh?
Come on.
Let it lock and grow.
Cap up.
Let it lock and grow.
Yeah. So at Illinois, as you was talking about Illinois, Lovie Smith recruited you out of high school. I had Lovie Smith as my defensive coordinator back in St. Louis my last year, 2001.
That's crazy.
What was it like? I know what he was like as a D coordinator. Man, Lovie's outstanding coach.
Yeah, everybody loved him.
Y'all, they had some boys on that defense at Illinois.
No, they had some dudes.
Yeah, what was it like playing for Lovie at Illinois?
I love Lovie. Like you said, football-wise, you know, everything. Like, from A to B, it's just didn't play in our favor with our players. But as a coach, like on and off the field, me and him still text to this day. Text. And I ain't played for Lovie in, 5 years?
Yeah, right.
So that should just show you who he is as a person. But on the field, everybody know what he do on the field.
Speaking of a guy like Lovie, and he actually recruited you there to Illinois. One of the things that I took pride in when I came into the league, I was coached by Butch Davis, and he was a former, NFL coach, coach for the Cowboys. What were some of the things that you learned from Lovie that helped you with your game today? Because you look like a guy that, especially coming in the way you got in here, and like as soon as you hit the field, it seemed like you was ready. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the things he taught you early in your career in college that got you ready?
Just small things like teaching us how to watch film. I feel like that was the biggest thing coming in as a freshman. You know, in high school, you just
you just better than everybody.
Yeah, we didn't watch film in high school, so you probably didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, just learning how to watch film, like how to break it down by personnel, each player. Like I feel like that was my biggest thing because I'm a big student of the game. So even like pre-snap recognition, like I learned that from Lovie. Just small things like he always helped me be stout in the run game, and in the pass game he helped me. Got a pass rush specialist at Illinois, and I feel like ever since then, I took off.
Yeah, it's all about mental. Speaking of mental, when you got here, it was very similar to when I got drafted here. My DB room was full of greats. I had Darrell Green, I had Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey. You walked in the defensive tackle room, you got John Elliott, Deron Payne. Tell me some stuff that you just soaked up from those guys.
Yeah, for sure. They're my big brothers. Man, I sit right next to John. So every meeting, like, if I ever mess up on something, Like I don't even look at the coach. I'll just look right next to John. Like, bro, like he don't even. I don't gotta be like, help me. I'll just look at him and he'll be like, all right, do this, and this, and this, and this. And then Payne quiet. But whenever he say something, it's like it'll hit you.
Yeah.
So whenever he say something in the meetings, breaking out film, like it'd be quiet. But when he said, like everybody go listen. So just those two guys just coming in and embracing me, not trying to be like the bully type OG rather than big brothers. So, I really appreciate those guys for that, and especially John. Like I said, that's my locker mate too.
Yeah,
right next to each other.
So he just always over your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Every time you look around.
That's my big brother.
So you mentioned John. Unfortunate injury. He's out for the season. Opportunity for you to step up, play a lot more. Has he talked to you about kind of what it's going to be like for you to
take that load on?
Yeah, take this load on. And are you looking forward to playing a bigger role on this defense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a football player, definitely in the National Football League, it should be every player's dream to step into that starting role and come over and dominate the game. Ever since I've been playing, I ain't want to just be on the team. I wanted to be the best player on the team, best player in the league. So that's my goals and my hopes and aspirations to come over and honestly take over the league. I just don't want to be another player. Like I want to be one of the greats. So me and John talked Monday before anything happened. Like I said, that's my big brother. So we had a talk. Like man, like it hurt my heart honestly because like that's my big brother. I don't want nothing to happen to nobody in our room. He told me, and then he just smiled. It was kind of crazy. He smiled. He was like, "Bro, you got this, bro." He's like, "Bro, good. Like I know who you are." It's like, just trust me. It's like I believe in you and trust in you. It's like just take over. And
what are some of the things, man? You're a young guy and coming into one of the best assembled staffs.
Yeah.
We all three of us played this game, and we know what a great staff is just from what we see. What are some of the things that you can kind of, I guess you could say put your hand on that this staff has already taught you, or just give me a story or two about some of the things that get you guys ready? Because, man, the way you guys are playing, you can honestly see the brotherhood. You can see you guys out there playing for one another.
Yeah, for sure. Before we did any breakdown, before we did any play, any huddle, like before the season even started, like you could feel the energy right when you walk in the building. Like all the coaches being interactive in the team meetings, Coach DQ coming in there, bringing that energy. They just make it fun. Like, normally meetings you just, like, man,
just
talking.
Ready to get out of it, right?
They bring in, like, they put funny clips in there. Like, they make it entertaining to be here. And then everybody done seen the pregame breakdown by Oos. Oos be getting us hyped. Then all the vets be talking. Hold on. Payne done talk. John Allen. Oos done talk. B-Wags. Like, those guys talking, whenever, like I said, whenever they talk, like you go listen and it's go hit you. And then Oos come and break that thing down. You can't.
I told him I want to come back just for that break.
Give me 2 in the Ric Flair. Like, everybody hype.
Ready to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, that start from the coaches. Like they bring that energy and make all us comfortable enough to
be yourself.
Just vibe and be ourselves.
That's what's up, man.
Oh, man. Well, we appreciate you joining us on the Players Club. Johnny, we have all our guests sign this football for us, if you wouldn't mind. Love to see you put your autograph on it. Looking forward to see you play not only against the Carolina Panthers this Sunday, but the rest of the season, man.
Go out there and have fun,
good luck, man. Have fun with it, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all for even having me out here. And
hey, man, you're Florida boy. That's what we do. We make our presence known, man.
Mississippi. Mando.
All right, that'll do it for the Players Club. Another edition. See you next week at the same time.